You're listening to E-Commerce Uncensored with Kevin Manel and Jason Caruso.
Hey everyone, and thanks for joining us on another episode of E-Commerce Uncensored. This is episode number 185. My name is Kevin Manel, and I'm here with
Jason Caruso.
Got a really cool interview today, Jason. I'm pretty excited about it. Someone who reached out to us via Instagram after she joined our Facebook course.
Yeah, well, she didn't reach out to us. She actually posted something in her
Right.
story saying that it's nice to wake up to more sales from your e-commerce store or your Facebook ads through your e-commerce store. Shout out to E-Commerce Uncensored. So basically, she took the Facebook course.
That's right, yeah.
And she got all kinds of sales in her account. We actually talk a little bit about that today. She was really, really engaging. It was really nice to see or talk to someone who actually has taken the course and just to hear a little bit of their feedback. And yeah, it was they were really cool. And we spoke to them for like 45 minutes or a half hour after the podcast.
Yeah, I looked at the clock. I was like, oh, we've been on for 2 hours now. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So really cool.
Great
And they're in our area too. So we're going to maybe get together.
Great people. We met her boyfriend. He spoke to us afterwards. So they got a
Fiance.
Oh, the fiance? It was?
Fiance,
Okay.
yeah.
Fiance, sorry. Fiance.
Fiance.
So before we get started, we got to talk about Klaviyo. And Did you see the text I sent you earlier about the winner of the Own Growth Stories contest?
Yes,
You did. You
I
wrote back
did.
to me. That's right.
Don't ask me how to pronounce their name, but it was who, Kevin?
Frere Branchu.
Yeah, those are the kids.
The Candle Boys. And
Yeah.
if any of you guys haven't listened, it's been a little while actually since we recorded, but 2 weeks ago, we posted an episode every day of the finalists for the Klaviyo.com Own Growth Stories contest. And the winner was chosen, I don't know what day, but the winner was chosen a couple of days ago, and it was the Candle Boys, which is the Gill family, which really great people, really great family.
Yeah, and also Amanda today actually was on MailChimp, and she switched over to Klaviyo. It's funny because I get emails from people, and I'm guessing she found Klaviyo through us. But like, so many people are like, I didn't use your link. I'm sorry. I joined Klaviyo. I love it. And I think she's like another one. She didn't mention whether or not she used our link or not, or even if she found Klaviyo through us. But it's nice to see that people are actually finding Klaviyo through us because, you know, we love it. We bring all of our clients over to it. We use it for all of our own businesses. I really think you guys are going to love this episode. We talk about a lot of different things. If you haven't joined the Facebook group by now, it is out of beta. Oh, sorry. You have to go to where? Where do you have to go, Kev?
Go to Klaviyo.com/uncensored to sign up for Klaviyo. And it was, so you mentioned Amanda and how she was just saying how like Klaviyo was just a complete game changer. She was like, it was a no-brainer once she switched over and tried it. So you guys got to head over there and try it. It's klaviyo.com/uncensored.
Yeah. And the funny part about it all is how much people love just, you know, geeking out on it. Like the flows and all this and like how much money it's showing. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And we talk about the Facebook course. You haven't joined that yet. It's coming out of beta. By the time you listen to this, if you go to ecommerceuncensored.com/truth, you'll be redirected to sign up for the course. I guess that's how it's going to be done, Kev. We haven't quite figured that out yet. But if you go there, the information will be there. It's out of beta and it's going to be launched.
Yeah. And for those of you who signed up for that list, we're going to be sending out an email shortly to get ahead of that a little bit. And we'll be sending out that shortly.
Yep.
So yeah, that's it. So enjoy this interview. This is, you know what? I don't remember her last name. Did we get her last name?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Anyway, enjoy this interview. Hey, Amanda, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very good. Thanks. So Jason, why don't you go ahead and start the podcast as you would like?
Yeah, I'd like that, Kevin.
Thank you.
So we've obviously been doing a lot of interviews lately. You know, if you've been listening to our show for any length of time, you know that it's very difficult for us because we started this podcast out where we wanted to talk about our experiences as an agency, as Facebook advertisers, as email marketers, as you know, just marketers in general. and sort of share what we've been going through on a day-to-day basis. The truth is, there is a time where it's just like the same thing, you get the same problems, the same challenges. And Kevin and I got to a point where we're like, okay, now we got to take this thing to the next level. We have to start getting people on, entrepreneurs like yourselves. I always love listening to podcasts where entrepreneurs would get on here and talk about their struggle, because Amanda, you probably can attest to this. In the industry, there is this kind of, false thing that people are overnight successes when they get on these podcasts. It's like, yeah, I do, $2 million a month. Yeah, I do $5 million a day. And it's just like, yeah, but there was like 20 years of like losing money, losing sleep, losing time, and people don't realize that. So Amanda, I'm sure you have your story. First, let's start off with how you were introduced to us, because I'm going to be 150, 200% honest with you. I had no idea you were in the Facebook course. Because most people don't write me, and I'm like, hey, let me know what's going on. Let me know if you like it. And like, there's same 5 or 6 people, they write me. I haven't heard anything from you. I saw something on Instagram. So if we can start there, that'd be cool.
Yeah, sure. So I actually stumbled upon you guys on I was gonna say Spotify. I'm always mixing the two up. So on Spotify, I found E-commerce Uncensored. I actually was looking for an e-commerce podcast because we had started our e-commerce business, and we were kind of getting to the point where like everything that we knew how to do, we already implemented, and we were starting to learn new skills. And so I stumbled upon you guys like, oh, E-commerce Uncensored. Like that sounds really cool. So I started giving it a listen, loved the personalities and how truthful and real you guys kept it. And then from there, I kept hearing you talk about the Facebook ads course, the truth about Facebook ads.
Right.
And I was like, okay, that's a different spin on it, because I've definitely learned a lot about Facebook ads. I'll get into in a little bit like my background and what I do for a living, but I have run Facebook ads in the past for different kinds of businesses, but mostly real estate agents, and particularly for our business. So when it came to running Facebook ads for e-commerce, the store that we started, which we'll talk about in a little, it was completely different. And when I took the course, it was kind of like, oh, I'm wrong. It's not different. I'm just inside my own head, and I had to listen to the Facebook ads truths.
Yeah, it's funny because most people, I would say, I can't really give a percentage, but I think most people, if they just got out of their own way, would realize that what they're doing when they're spending $50 a day is not necessarily wrong. They just don't have the confidence to take it to what we're doing now is $4,000 a day, right? And it's just sometimes it's just a mindset. Like, I can't tell you how many people have emailed me saying like, no, dude, I've taken this course and like I was profitable for the first time, but I was doing the right things. I just needed you to tell me, or I needed to hear that I was doing it the right way. And I don't really care how people get to whatever, kind of goal they're trying to get to. Mm-hmm. But like hearing that kind of stuff or those kind of stories is really cool, because, when Kevin and I first talked about this Facebook course, the one thing I wanted people to understand was like, it's not so much about the tactics as it is knowing what to expect. Like when the ad's not working, where should you look? When it's not scaling, where should you look? How should you scale? Those sort of things. I really wanted the course to heavily, focus on understanding why things are happening.
Exactly. I think that's actually something very unique about the course that you guys have put together, because when I didn't know what to expect, especially because you said it was in beta. So I signed up and you start getting the videos, and I was, you said it would be different in the podcast, but everyone always says it's going to be different. And you guys were honest. It was different in the sense that you didn't just, a lot of courses and a lot of like Facebook ads gurus out there, they teach you how to create a Facebook ad, how to set up your ads manager. And like, you just went like, you deep dived into like the basic principles that really make the full difference in terms of like how to actually be successful at it. And then you touched on what to do when things are not working and how to make things better, which a lot of people don't even cover those things. So you kind of like, okay, I made an ad, now what?
Yeah, and it's interesting that you say that because, you know, I try to take myself before we were doing the numbers that we were doing, and like I try to put myself in a position of like, what was I thinking when I couldn't get this ad to work, right? Most people, as you know, that first video is like 43 minutes long, and it's like most people don't realize that it's the offer. It's not your Facebook ads that aren't working. It's the offer that isn't working. We run offers that like kill it for us, and as soon as we change the offer, maybe we don't make any money. We're like, oh shit, let's go back and fix that, you know?
Yeah.
And when you wrote on Instagram, it was like really cool. Like you were like, it's so nice waking up seeing new orders in, you know, in your e-commerce store. Like to me, you know, Kevin and I make enough money. It's not so much the money, but it's like stories like that really, I think, you know, keeps me going. And
It's exciting to help other people make money.
I'm sorry, say that again. You broke up.
It's exciting to help other people make money when you find out that's something you did.
Yeah, and especially because it's like it's such a mystifying process when you don't know what you're doing or you haven't had the success. So that's kind of where I took, you know, how I created the course was from that perspective. Like, okay, what would I need to know if this isn't working? What would I need to know if that isn't working? How do I step back and say, okay, how do I craft an offer? You know, like all those things. So
Yeah, when you first came to me and you're like, I got to do this. He's like, because you had this feeling, you're like, I have this piece of information that I feel like I'd be doing everybody a disjustice if I didn't get it out there. So that's when you're like, I'm just doing it. I have to get this out. Yeah. So Amanda, why don't you just, before we go any further, why don't you tell us a little bit like what you do, what you sell? We were talking, it's funny, before you got on, Jason was like, I see her on Instagram. She's like all over the place. She's doing real estate. She's selling products. He's like, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, and and I get tired watching you.
Yeah. What are you selling?
You're not the first person to say that. I get the question a lot. How do you do everything? The truth is one thing at a time. And I'm very forgiving of myself when it comes to the juggling act. But I am actually a real estate agent. And it just so happened that, you know, how do I sum this story up? Because I could probably go for like a whole hour on telling how we got here.
We ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I actually started off as a photographer. And I spent about 10 years doing that. But with photography, there was this whole like navigating how to actually make money consistently. So I wound up building websites and doing graphic design and stuff like that on the side to supplement my income. And I met my fiance, who's my fiance now, Alex, in my freshman year of college. We stood friends the whole time. Then about 3 years ago, we finally admitted that we were in love with each other. That took a while. But after that happened, we moved in together, and he was a real estate broker. And that's when real estate came in, where I was kind of at this point in my photography career where I had reached success and I was making good money, but I wasn't happy because I was exchanging something that I was really, really passionate about, that was really subjective, and exchanging it for money. And it just wasn't scalable me on my own. And then I was watching him doing real estate in and out. And I said, hey, I could do that. And his eyes glowed. I was just kidding, but because of the glow in his eyes, I was like, oh, I'll think about it. So became a real estate agent. And then one day, this is where the e-commerce comes in. He actually wanted a daily planner. And he'd been buying different planners and just nothing was fitting what he needed because of like being a real estate agent. I don't know if you guys know, but it's very, very crazy career path. And there wasn't a planner out there that was working for him. Even though we purchased one that was for real estate agents, it still didn't, fit his criteria. So I said, hey, design one on paper. I'll make it in like Adobe Illustrator or Photoshop. We'll get it printed, and then there's your planner. And we did that, and boom, and e-commerce was born, because we were kind of like, oh, this is great. Like, let's just throw this up online and see, if anyone wants to buy it. And we started off with a digital version, and within like, I think 2 or 3 months, we were on the first page of Google for real estate agent planners. No real effort behind the website. It wasn't Shopify. Like, we started off with Squarespace and just did like a little shopping page, like really, really, like we weren't even trying. And then from there, it kind of grew into this, okay, we need to move over to Shopify. We have to add more products. We need to make a printed planner because everyone keeps asking us, oh, I love the digital version, but do you have a printed version? And we didn't even know where to go in terms of vendors and, how to really make a robust e-commerce website and how to scale with things like Facebook ads. And then came you guys, where I found the podcast and we started learning more and more from your podcast and different podcasts. So right now, today in 2020, I am a real estate agent, but also a co-owner of an e-commerce business where we sell daily planners for real estate agents, marketing templates that are customizable Canva templates for real estate agents, as well as apparel. And then the face masks were just by popular demand. We kept getting emails and Instagram DMs like, are you guys going to have face masks for real estate agents? And we actually didn't want to do it. But everyone kept asking. So we were like, all right, fine.
All right, I got a couple questions before you continue. So, one thing that was pretty interesting what you said is like you started your e-commerce store on Squarespace, right? Kevin and I run someone's at the door. My dog's barking.
We got dogs. We got cats on the podcast today.
Yeah, cats. Yeah,
saw a little tail wagging in the background.
My son's friends, like they come over as soon as their mothers allow them to, and they're knocking on the door. My dog's going nuts. But Kevin and I run a multi-million-dollar e-commerce company on WooCommerce, right? And what I think happens is that when you first get into this business, and Amanda, I'm going to, basically, I think you'll agree with me, is that you get caught up in this like, oh, before I start, I need this. Oh, before I start, I need that. Like, no, I can't do this until I pay someone to do this. And the truth really is like, we have a multi-million-dollar site on WooCommerce, right? Like people are like, look at us like, wait a minute, you guys are e-commerce guys. What are you doing on WooCommerce, right? Truth is like, it works for us. And, sometimes like we said, like, I think it was maybe before the call or whatever, I was like, just got to get out of your own way sometimes. Right. And just get going. You can fix all that stuff later. You can optimize later. You can make it faster. You can make it better. You can make it prettier. You can get a logo. You can do all that crap later. Yeah. The crucial part is just getting going and just starting, right? You're going to figure out as you go what you need, right? I tell Kevin this all the time. I'm like, there is no substitute, right? Like you can't teach experience, right? You have to go through it. So, day one, when you have 0 people on your email list, right? Like you can't send an email out and make $5,000, but day 100, when you have 20,000 people on your email list, you can send out an email and make, money. But there's this whole time in between, right? You need that experience. You need that time to learn. And what you could do day one is different than what you could do day 100. And I think if people would just get out of their own way, just get going, just understand there are going to be problems, period. We have problems today with our website. Like I said, like we're going to do $2 million in like the first year. So it's going to happen. You just got to figure out how to learn from it, how to pivot when you have to, your messaging and all those kind of things we could talk about. But did you have that experience as well? Like, were you sitting in front of the computer like, oh my God, like, what should I do first? I don't know what
especially coming from a creative background like you do. I'm sure that, I don't know if you heard any of our earlier podcasts, but it was always like a fight Jason and I used to have. Jason's like, let's just get it out there and we'll see what happens. And I'm always like, well, we got to get that right and this right. And then when we built this e-commerce store, people started buying. I'm like, I can't believe people are buying on this website. And then it just kept happening. So
yeah, so I actually had that with my fiance Alex. He's more so like, let's just throw it out there, like let's see. And I'm always kind of like, well, wait, we got to figure out like this and that and this and that. But sometimes we switch roles. It's really weird. Like it depends on what part of the business it is. But definitely like the getting out of your own way is super, super big. We had to learn that early on. But we definitely didn't run into the issue of kind of like, oh, I need this before we get the business started. We need that before we get the business started. Like we've actually been really, really great with pivoting and kind of like, we're just trucking along and then we see something like, oh, that would be nice and that would help and it would replace this and it would cost this much. Okay, let's swap them out. Which is what happened with Klaviyo, MailChimp versus Klaviyo. That was a big decision, but it was kind of like a no-brainer once we looked it up.
How's your experience with Klaviyo now that you've moved over?
I honestly love Klaviyo. So we made a big e-commerce email marketing boo-boo when we first started, which was our list building strategy was our target market is real estate agents. Obviously, we have a tighter definition of that, but in general, real estate agents. So it's actually very easy to go to different brokerage websites and pull emails. So we did that. We started off with a list of like 10,000, and we literally like sat there and like built the list on spreadsheets and had Zapier sending each spreadsheet line to MailChimp. 10,000 people, then 15,000 people, and we were getting lots of orders. It was going really great. But it just, I don't know, like MailChimp it limited us. And then when we found Klaviyo and we were listening to, podcasts about Klaviyo and things that you guys were talking about, we realized like, okay, we need to downsize this list. We did it the wrong way. We need to keep the people who have actually been interacting with the emails, get rid of and sunset the people who just like they barely interacted with it or have never opened it. And so we took that approach, which saved us money. We actually spend less with Klaviyo now than we did on MailChimp, but we have way more tools, way more data. The flows are amazing. We're having a lot of fun with that. We actually created our first welcome flow, which has been really, really great in terms of building community. And we're getting responses from like potential future customers as well as current customers who are kind of like, hey, I love this. Thank you for asking what I need in my business. This is what I'm struggling with. And so we have customers telling us what they're struggling with, and we can create new products based on that.
That's something that I think Kevin and I need to get better at. We are such marketers that, I mean, we have to get better at having those sort of softer emails and emails that are building the community, because we don't do that as well as we should. And, that's definitely like something I think we have to write down, Kev, because, we kind of just get right in like into selling, and, all that, I'm sure that works for us a little bit. We probably can in the long run do a little bit better by just being a little bit more like, hey, here's our Facebook group. Hey, how can we help you with your photography? Hey, whatever. Because, our business is a wildlife photography business. I don't know if did you know that?
Yeah. I've checked out the website and everything. I always wanted to know what you guys were talking about, because it took me a while listening to the podcast. Like, what business are they running? They're always talking about it, but I don't know the name.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we're trying, like we've done really well, really quickly, right? We have an info product business. This year, 2020, we'll do 2 million. We just started the business last September. But like to go from, did I say 20 million? 2 million. From 2 million to, 5 million, we have to make some changes. And these are the kind of things that, we're always, and because it's funny, we get you guys on these podcasts and like, I'm like taking mental notes, like, okay, I got to do that. I got to do that. Okay. And I'm learning from you guys because we're really good at the things we're really good at. The things that we're not really good at, we're not really good at. And,
Well, I think that's what really attracted me to your Instagram profile, is the fact that you are just constantly just giving out content. You're constantly giving out value. Do you feel like that's your main source of everything? Is it because I see you have on your website, you have webinars, you have videos, and everything seems free. You almost don't know what you sell right away. It's just all about, and even at the bottom, you're like, what do I ask for in return on your one page? I can't remember, but it's like, I only ask that you use these techniques that I give you. And that's it. You're not like, buy this, buy that. And I think that's so important.
A lot of the orders, I think if we would take a little bit more of like a marketing centric and sales approach, we'd probably like smash it out of the water and get more sales. But we're playing the long game, and it's really like building a ton of brand, the approach that we've taken. One thing that we want to work on now, which we saw that you did with the wildlife photography, was taking those, because we have about 25 hours worth of free education for real estate agents on the e-commerce website. And right now it's in like the top navigation, where they can just go there and like watch all of those and not shop anywhere. So what we want to do is change it where it's actual landing pages that have CTAs and things like that with the education built into it on the top. So we're working on building that out, which you guys actually give us the idea for that.
All right, cool. So why don't you talk about some things, because, you have an interesting story. Obviously, you're doing a few different things between the e-commerce and Why don't you give us, so that like listeners who are listening, right? Because you were actually before today on the other end, right, listening to the podcast, right? And so what would be like your like biggest, let's say, aha moment for on the e-commerce side of things? Like when did you like, or what was it that clicked or that gave you like you said, the aha moment, just to where you saw things coming together?
When I just saw things coming together, to be honest, it's been like a whole, like the business is a year old, and it's been a whole, like every month is an aha moment. But I would have to say a big aha moment had to be, I guess, probably when we first started running the Facebook ads. Because we knew, like, when we started the business, a lot of people told us, like, wow, you have something here that could really be like a behemoth. Because we really only have one other competitor out there in terms of like similarities to the type of business that we run. So when we started running the Facebook ads, that was when we really realized, like, oh, wow, if we just got more traffic, which is kind of like duh, but if we just got more traffic, like we really have something here, we just need more eyeballs on it. So that was a big moment for us. And then also during COVID, that was when we made a huge pivot to doing more education and bringing more value to the people that we have in our email list and in our social media profiles. And that was a huge aha moment for us, because we actually turned off all of our Facebook ads from before when COVID hit, because everything just took a nosedive. Sales took a nosedive. Like it was like crickets. And it made sense, and it pointed a finger at the fact that our business has a hole in it, in the sense that we sell to real estate agents, but if the market crashes, real estate agents don't have money.
Yeah.
So we had to figure that out. So we opted to do education, and what happened was, as things sort of calmed down with COVID, and at least in our area in New York, orders started picking up, and we started getting like feedback from customers that they were ordering simply because they were so full of gratitude that we taught them so much during the pandemic. And it was kind of like, wow, that's big. Like we should continue this education route and providing free value.
Yeah, one of the guys in the course, he listened to a podcast where I said, don't listen to the gurus who tell you campaign budget optimization doesn't work. Try it out. And he said he did it, and he had his first profitable day. And he's like, I had to buy the course from you, even though I didn't think I was going to need it for anything. But like, just because of you guys, because of your podcast and that one thing that you said made me profitable. He's like, I just felt like I owed you. And then I didn't stop hearing from the guy. So, well, he was really nice guy. But yeah, I mean, that's another thing that I wish we did more of. It's just that Kevin and I have like 3 businesses. And it's hard to like figure out where to put your time and like,
Oh yeah.
So I think that's a challenge.
I think one of the most important things you said earlier, Amanda, is when you said you're kind of, listening to your community, because we see it all the time that people fall in love with their product and they think their product is the best, and they don't listen to what their customers are saying. And I think that's so important. I think we do a little bit of that on the wildlife photography. We see how people react to our post, how people do this, and we kind of change things. So I think that's a really important point that you made earlier.
Yeah, it's definitely made a difference, like us listening to people. I actually didn't know that. I didn't think that if we sent out an email asking everyone on the customer list, what are you struggling with? I didn't think anyone would reply. And we got a ton of responses, which inspired a lot of different products that we've come out with, and has been super helpful.
Where are you guys sourcing? You don't have to say exactly, but like, do you guys source your products like just like on Alibaba type thing, or AliExpress, or?
Yeah, so it's so funny. When we actually first started, we're so transparent, like, and I feel like that's part of the sort of community that we built with Design for Realtors is the name of the e-commerce. Everyone kind of knows like what we do, and we share behind the scenes and stuff like that. So we started off on Squarespace, and when we introduced apparel into the mix, we didn't want to hold any inventory, and we actually didn't put any money into the e-commerce business like ourselves. It was completely like funded on its own from the very first product, and continued on. what happened was we wanted to introduce apparel with just one t-shirt that said buy, sell, invest on it, which is a #1 bestseller that we have. And we actually ordered them at first from Vistaprint, which is so not cost effective, like super beginner. We were just like, let's see, we don't want to hold inventory. And we hadn't moved over to Shopify yet. And it wound up that, the t-shirts were selling, and Vistaprint, like, the margin was meh. But when we switched over to Shopify, that's when we came across all of the different like tools that you have access to with the Shopify app store. And that's where we found Printful. So we actually get a lot of our apparel from Printful. It's drop shipped. It's in North Charlotte, Carolina, California. And the shipping times are great. We hit a snag for COVID, but we communicated with all of the customers saying, hey, COVID has slowed things down at the warehouse. We apologize. We appreciate your patience. And everyone was super understanding. We didn't have any canceled orders, which was great. And for the actual like daily planners, we bulk order those, and we actually keep them like in-house, and we package and ship them ourselves. We just try to keep things very organized, and so we don't get crazy, because we do have a real estate business that we run that we have clients for. And then for the digital products, that's just completely like we set it and forget it.
So I got a question for you, because this is going to change the topic a little bit, but as you're talking, I'm like, how do you, and I'm most interested in this, because this is one thing that Kevin and I have really struggled with, is like, how do you come up with your content schedule, let's say for Instagram? And do you, because, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about, like, he says, don't create. He says, document, don't create, right? Like, creating is hard. It's like trying to figure out like what the hell to do. But if you just document what you're doing throughout the day, it's much easier to do. How do you guys come up with your schedule? Because as I said, I'm going to say it again. It's like, I get tired watching the amount of stuff that you produce. And we need to get better at that. Kevin and I, we're not really good at it. And I think it's more because it's overwhelming. We both have young kids. And so how do you go about like your content schedule?
Yeah, so for us, specifically for Instagram and Facebook, I actually do my best to plan out 30 days of content for both platforms using this app called the Plan app. And
the Plan?
Yeah, so PLANN, Plan app. That is available for both iPhone and Android, and they have a desktop version, and it'll actually auto post for you on Facebook, and it'll remind you to post for Instagram. It doesn't do auto posting on Instagram, which no one should really do that. Conversation for a different day. But that we mainly use that for Instagram and Facebook. But as far as like the stories, that's sort of like our content bread and butter, and where we connect with people the most. And that's literally like, people are just amazed by the mundane of our lives. Like, a lot of people would love to see you guys share behind the scenes of the fact that you're doing a podcast, or that, why you guys decided to get, wear branded t-shirts and have your microphones sort of branded with the e-commerce uncensored logo, and the ordering process, and why you got that and where you ordered it from. All of those nitty gritty details, we just share all of that. And over time, it's become like second nature. At first, kind of like pulling teeth though.
Yeah, I wish we knew why we did all this. Everybody else was doing it. So
I mean, it's so difficult. Like, I don't know if it's just like getting out of our comfort zone and doing those kinds of things. But every time I try to do it, like our producer, Jen, she's always like texting me. She's like, do a video for the podcast. And I'm like, I'm sitting here at my desk, and I'm like holding the camera or holding the phone up, and I'm doing it over and over and over again, instead of just doing it and getting it out there.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest struggle.
The cats fighting on camera. My goodness.
Yeah, look at that. I'd be swinging a lot of golf clubs if we did behind the scenes stuff, because that's what I do. I sit in my office, and I just like walk around thinking, and I'm just like swinging the golf club, and then I have my assistant Kevin do all the work. Basically,
it would make people who love golf and love having other people do all the work feel very related to you.
Do you see that? I mean, Kevin and I are about to buy a golf simulator for our office.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I'm so excited.
And we have to get better for sure. That's going to be the key, is just documenting the whole process of this.
Documenting the whole process. So
even stuff that's unrelated to e-commerce, like people love it. It makes them feel related to you, really. And just a tip for the recording over and over again, you can actually just do boomerangs of stuff and just write things on it. So just start off with text and boomerangs and then warm up to putting your face on camera. That's like a good start.
Okay.
So we just never think of it. It's like, it just
Right.
never crosses my mind when I'm doing it. And I always, and Jason knows this, I've always wanted like somebody just, I know it's crazy, but just someone in our office that could just record everything that we're doing. So I'm not the person who's got to like
That's
think
my
about
point.
recording myself. You know, it's a little crazy to think that have a camera crew at our office that's just documenting everything. We're
It
not
would
quite there yet, but
Yeah, I mean, have you you've I'm sure you've seen a lift since you've been posting all the content, right? I mean,
we can see a direct correlation from like the more that I post, the more orders we'll get, or the more that I post, the more clients for real estate that we'll get. You'll see it immediately. Like it's kind of like an immediate thing.
Yeah, okay, we got to do that.
and what's your I'm trying. Not really trying, but what is you said you're building your list. What does your list building strategy look like at this point?
Yeah, so since we've downsized everything when we moved over to Klaviyo to kind of just do it the right way, we actually created an ebook, which is sort of like a culmination of all of the education that we have on the website, but we put it in ebook format, and there's like links to like landing page versions of the actual educational videos. And so that book now a pop-up on our website, and we also we have a landing page for it that we promote, and it's in the link in our bio and things like that, and that's actually been really helpful in building the list. And then from there get the welcome email with the ebook and kind of like introduced to our brand through a series of different emails.
So I want to just ask you because I think one of the problems Kevin and I have, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs
We keep talking about our problems.
Well, because we're like, I want people to know. I just want people to know that, like, you know, you can do really well with doing a lot wrong. You know, it's just, I think, and Amanda, I mean, for me personally, and you can speak on this maybe, but like, I think if you have a irresistible offer, like I talk about in that Facebook course, if you have an irresistible offer, the rest of it will take care of itself. And I think, like, for me personally, like that was like my big aha moment. Like, oh my God, like these guys who are making all this money on Facebook, it's just their offer. It's so irresistible that their ads have to work.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's really easy to get discouraged in the beginning because you don't quite understand that. Like, you're like, oh, this is not working in Facebook. Oh, must have did this wrong. Oh, it's my targeting. Oh, it's like, really, when it comes down to it, it comes down to your offer, right? It having an irresistible offer. And I think, how did you know, because one thing I know for me personally is like, I'm like, what if I get on Instagram all these hours and it does shit, you know? Like, how did you get over that, right? Because I don't know what your sales are right now, but like, you didn't start off making these kind of sales from day one, right? You had to put that time in first, right? And then you're going to see the money. So how did you get over that hurdle of like, okay, I know if I keep doing this content, at some point it's going to pay off. You know, like, what was your mindset for that?
This is going to sound very Gary Vee-ish, but it's true. And it was just the idea that if I help even one person through putting out that content and sharing the day in, day out stuff, that is enough for me. Obviously we want the sales, like I want to sell stuff,
Right.
buy my stuff. But it really does feel good when you get that DM, and it will come, especially like the more value that you put out there and like audience centric stuff that you know it will help them. Like, even I see that you guys post snippets of the podcast, and it's kind of like, if you just kept doing that and really interacting with your audience and like people in hashtags that, you know, are people that you could help, you would actually see like a big, because your podcast, like, believe it or not, you guys talking about your problems is really important. I'm talking to friends all the time, like, entrepreneurship is lonely. It is so lonely. Like, it's almost depressing how lonely it is, because you'll think that you're the only one with these issues, or like you won't even realize that you have these problems until you talk to someone else, and you're like, oh, I gotta do that. That happened in this episode just now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so true. Like, I remember I have a similar story to use. Like, when I first started, I I lost my job, and I was like I was in the front of the computer from like 6 a.m. to 12 o'clock in the morning every day for 2 years, and family members telling me that like I need to get a job, and like I'm playing on the computer, and like this is gonna go nowhere, those kind of things. And you could jump in front of the computer and act as happy as you want, but like the reality is it's like a struggle. I mean, you're alone, you're kind of like trying to make this thing happen, and you're late nights, early mornings, and there's no real guarantee, I mean, that's like the other part of it. And I always felt like when I listen to podcasts, I hear like how great everything is, and I'm like, that's bullshit. Everything isn't that great all the time. And I like to hear people that are like, that have some humanity, that are just like, look, I don't know what the hell we did, but this is what happened. Or, like Kevin and I talked about having like 10 people in our agency, and I'm like, I hated that. Just too many personalities, there's way too many personalities. So like those kind of things, because I feel like people on the other side are going through the same things. And like when they feel like, they're making mistakes, you're making mistakes, I feel like they kind of connect that way. And that's kind of how we always kept it.
Well, the story with our podcast is just like that. It's like we did it for so long, 2 years without getting anything in return. We never asked for anything in return. We almost quit several times. And then you know what? Like Klaviyo called us. Klaviyo invited us to our conference. And then we started getting emails, people calling us, getting clients from it. It was really strange how it just organically happened just by giving as much value as we possibly can.
Yeah. And it's, I like I said, I was really excited to hear your story when you were like, oh, I woke up in the morning. Like, I know I said that already, but it's like, that is why I do this. Like I said, for me, Amanda, like you may disagree, but don't say that you do. I feel like that course, the stuff that I shared in that course is invaluable. I feel like, I charge $297 at this point in beta. It's like, if you run Facebook ads for me personally, it's like a no-brainer, because it's going to go up to, 1,000 or more. And I still think it's worth it. But it's like, that's not really why I'm doing it. Even though I do like the sales, I do like helping people, because I feel like I was so lost when I started Facebook ads. And now that I'm spending $4,000 a day, I just see it in a different way, and sharing that with people, I feel like is worth way more than the money that I'm going to make off of it, because I'm just doing that to make sure people do it. Like if I give it to you for free, you're not going to do it. Right. If you pay for it, you're going to do it. So
that's so true. And we have probably, like, of all the education we share, very few people actually implement it.
If it's right, the free stuff, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And you know what? You probably see, here's the funny part is like, and I don't know if this is something I learned specifically from someone, or if I just observed it. I've just been doing this for so long, I don't remember. But it's like, when you give people the free stuff, right? Free, you think they're doing it all, but they're not. What they're doing is that you're getting credibility, and they're like, shit, I want to hire that person to do it for me because I don't want to do it. Right. So you're building that equity. You're building that trust with them. And even though you're telling them exactly like this podcast, I basically tell the exact same things that is in the course, right? We talk about the same things. Now on video, I can show you what I've done. I could show you the money we've spent and how we've, that's all valuable stuff. But we talk about pretty much everything that's on or in the Facebook course, but people much rather, you do it for them than actually take the free stuff that you've given them and apply it.
Yeah. I mean, I've even shared tips like for real estate agents on the e-commerce site, where I break down how to set up your Facebook ads manager and how to actually create an ad from like, just getting started to get yourself some leads. And you wouldn't believe like the amount of people who are like, oh, do you have a course? Like, do you have it? Oh, can I hire you to do it? I'm like, no, sorry.
Okay. Right. I just showed you how to do it. Just go do it. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Your Facebook ads course.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, obviously I'm biased, but like I try, like we talked about, I really try to take it from a point where like I was struggling. I didn't know what to do. And I'm glad that you found some value in it. I'm sure you knew a lot of it, but I'm sure there's, one or two snippets that you found or nuggets that you found that really helped.
the biggest nugget that I took from the course would be the irresistible offer. You guys talk about it all the time, but it's the way that you broke it down in the course was just so, I don't have a word for it. Just, you broke it down in a way that like the brain had a aha moment. And it was because a lot of people think, oh, irresistible offer, you're asking me to give 50%, like give all the cookies away, and I have to discount everything. And that's not what it is at all. And you broke it down in a way that was really like, you could absorb it, and it was there.
And that's the first video too. Like,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. I think you give it away in the first video.
I was like,
because that
money.
yeah, because I think that is the foundation of everything. I mean, you could F around with all the settings you want in Facebook. I mean, if the offer is crap, nobody's going to buy from you. And the flip side of that is if your offer is really good, you know, your lack of knowledge of the ads manager, it'll make up for that. I mean, and that, like I said, that video is like 45 minutes long or 43 minutes long, but it's, you know, for me to do a lesson that long, it had to be worth it. Cause I have ADD. Like, it's like crazy. But yeah, I mean, I think I want to start that thing off with a punch, and like I said, I'm glad it's being well received. And Kevin and I are actually in the beta is gonna end actually, Amanda, with your episode.
Oh wow, okay.
So we are going to be launching it officially, and the price is going to be increasing. And we thought it'd be a perfect episode with you to do that, since you are one of the students.
Yeah, so exciting.
Yeah, I'm just so excited that you've like got some results from it. I mean, like that's like when I saw that, like, oh my god, that's awesome.
Oh yeah, and she went on your Instagram story. The video was perfect.
Yeah,
we want to start using that.
I remember I woke up so excited because we ran an ad with everything that we learned from the course, and we didn't even finish the course yet when we did the ad. And it was, I think I sent you guys, you saw it in the DMs. It was like a 26 ROAS, which was amazing, and then it was for a different product. And you gave us advice like, you know, wait and watch it and see how it does, and the ROAS went down.
Yeah, it's going to.
Yeah, but it was an incredible result for, like, we got sales, and it was the first day, like less than 24 hours had passed, and we were kind of blown away, like, oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you honestly, like we spend, like I said, $4,000 a day. I mean, if we get a 1.2x return, that's good. I mean, because, you know, that's $8,000 plus a day, right? If you think about that. And that was one of those things where, like, you know, everybody is so infatuated with the return. Like, everybody thinks that, like, I need a 10x return. Like, the truth is, if I spend $10,000 in a day and I can get a 1x return, I've made $20,000 in that day. And there's going to be saturation problems when you're spending that kind of money. So then creating other audiences, and then understanding that, like, look, you don't need a 5x return. Just got to get a 1.2 and you're good. You know, 1.1, right?
As long as the ad pays for itself.
As long as the ad pays for itself. You know, we're doing this right now. Like, we have 3 ads running, but we have 2 ads right now. One of them, we're spending $1,000 a day. That's just collecting email addresses. So we're losing money on that, but it has the highest return over a 30 or 40 day period. Kevin just figured out that the average customer that comes on our email list takes 40 days to buy. So we have a campaign running for that, where it's just bringing in those emails. And then we have a campaign where it's just selling the product on the front end. Now, from day to day, that may go from a 0.9 to a 1.4, like, you know, return back and forth. But, you know, the idea is that, you know, we have a subscription business that year 2, all those people are going to renew. So, or some of them are going to renew. It's just understanding that. Like, it's understanding, like, you know, I think I said to Kevin, when you're like, yeah, I'm getting a 26x return, I'm like, that's not even what's impressive to me. Like, because that's going to go away. You know, it's that you've actually used what's in there to get some sort of result. And like I said, you know, spend $2,000 a day, you're not going to get that kind of return, but you don't need it.
Yeah.
It's a tough mindset to have at the beginning too, because you have to figure out a way for the ads to pay for the ads.
Mm-hmm.
And to have that long-term goal in mind is so important. You feel like at the beginning you were kind of like, like, how am I going to get my money back right away?
Yeah.
And you got to get over that. Be like, the money's going to come back. We just got to keep giving that content and that value out.
Yeah. definitely. Like it's a great course.
Well, I'm glad you like it. I'm sorry that we're talking about it so much, but that's how I was introduced to you. And that's, it's just interesting to me. Not interesting. It's just I love hearing that. I get emails all the time from people who are like, I just got an email I sent to Kevin, right, Kev? He's like, by the way, this is the first weekend I was ever profitable. And I'm like, and he's like, can I hire you to look at my Klaviyo account? And I'm like, dude, just get me in there and I'll look at it for you. Like, no, you can't afford to. I'm not going to, what am I going to charge you? A few $100s. So I just, but yeah, that's the best part about it. Amanda, why don't you give us the links? Do you have anything else, by the way, that you'd like to share? Kev, you have any other questions? You guys are good?
I did actually. I wanted to take a step back for a minute and talk about like how you first got started, because I think like your story behind the fact that your boyfriend never had the right planner for himself and all that, and you kind of built this product based on a problem he was having. Did you, and this is something Jason and I go through, is like putting it out there and seeing if people buy it before you actually produce it. I know you said you had Vistaprint and all that stuff, but did you actually like just put yourself out there to see if people would buy it first, or did you actually inventory a bunch of product and get this whole thing built? How did you start out like that?
No. So we started with the planner as a digital product, and we left it there kind of hanging in the wind. And then one day I looked it up online and I was like, oh, we're first page on Google. That's cool. And that's when we had the idea to, maybe actually start selling it for real, like be serious about it. And that's where the physical planner came into play, because we got a lot of requests that the digital should be turned into physical. But obviously getting a physical product was going to cost us money, and we're going to have to hold the inventory. So what we actually did was we did like a pre-launch, and we built a lot of excitement around it. We ordered like one sample of it and took a ton of photos with it, promoted it, and had people pre-order. And so based on how many people actually pre-ordered the product itself, we ordered 3 times that amount. And then we had like a specific date that we told everyone, hey, it'll ship out this date. So that way we had collected the money already, so we could place the order for the actual products. But we got 3 times as much products, and then we just took it from there and started buying more and more and more inventory.
Now, Amanda, the real question is, are you upselling people on your checkout page to that printed version?
No. So we actually have the digital version and the printed version. They're slightly different from each other, which we are thinking about discontinuing the digital version because people get confused. With the printed version, there's no upsell. It's just the product by itself. And what we're thinking about doing is creating a product that sort of complements it to upsell there. Because right now, like the margins are great with the planner, but for us, it's never a bad thing to increase the the purchase amount. So we have stuff on Shopify that asks people to add stuff to their cart, and after they check out, there's a post-purchase page that tries to upsell them on some other stuff with a discount code, and they have like 15 minutes to execute on that. But we don't have an upsell with the planner, not yet.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you. You see these books back here? I don't know if you can see them. These are from.
I got it right there.
You got it too, Russell Brunson. Okay, so I bought those books, and then he's like, "Hey, do you want an audio version of them?" And you get upsold them. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you can sell the digital and upsell the hard copy one. I don't know. It might be.
Not a bad idea. Alex is over there. Like, does that sound like a good idea?
Yeah, I mean, if you know that. Yeah, and if you know that they're interested in the digital version, know that they, there's like a portion of people that would be interested in the hard copy. But like you said, if they're different, why can't you just make the digital one the same?
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. He's giving me the.
Yeah. I can tell you right now that our upsell, so we have this, and this is a big thing with us too. Like we're trying to make our journal, printable and actually like in a hard copy, but our partner is like a conservationist and he doesn't want to be part of like the trees being cut down and that kind of stuff. So it's been a little bit of a tug with him, which is okay. But people like tangible things, right? Like they like seeing things in their hand for the money they've spent.
Yeah.
So if I were you, what I would do is anybody who wants that digital one, I would have like an order bump in there, and I would bump them to the hard copy, and they would get both of them. And
I think you could do it both ways too. I think you could even somebody
Yeah.
buying the hard copy, then getting the digital copy, just
right,
like the
because
audio.
people want like that instant gratification, and they could see what's in it, and those kind of things. I mean, like our average order value, we're giving away this other digital product. It's a $50 product, and we're giving it for 50% off. And it's increased our order value by like, $30, $40. And that's a lot of money, especially when you're running Facebook ads, right? Because the idea of the Facebook is ads, and I think I have a lesson on this, is getting that average order value up as high as possible, because you're going to have a cost of acquisition of whatever, some $50, $100, depending on what you're selling and what your price point is.
Yeah, you
So,
just cover that, of course.
yeah. So I would definitely think about that. We use for Shopify, what do we use? One click upsell, Kev?
Yeah, one click upsell. Yep. The
Zipify.
Zipify.
Ezra Firestones.
Yeah.
I'll have to look at that. We have I think it's reconvert for like the post purchase page, but
Okay.
I'll look into that one. I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
I just want to know, like, if I'm alone in this, do you ever like purposefully go through other people's funnels just to see what they're like? You pretend you're a consumer to go through the motion of what they
Yeah, I mean, that's what Russell calls funnel hacking. We don't really have.
look at. Just got it.
Oh, you just got it. Okay, which one did you get?
We have the traffic one.
All right, so I would highly recommend getting .com secrets and expert secrets.
Gotcha.
Okay. Get both of those books. You will not be sorry. And I would read the traffic one later.
Okay.
Because he talks. Have you started already?
No, we just got it.
Okay. So the traffic one is kind of like after you know the first two books.
Oh.
I mean, you can learn from it for sure. But funnel hacking people. I've done that in the past. I haven't done it lately. Mainly because this wildlife photography industry that we're in, there's not many people doing what we're doing. I mean, we know like
I never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I signed up for a few photographers I saw on Facebook because I started getting targeted with some ads. So yeah, I get their emails now and I get their retargeting ads. So I keep an eye on those things for sure.
Yeah. Email's big, getting on their lists.
Yeah.
That's something that you should probably do a lot of. I mean, you probably do already. But what I've done is I've actually paid more attention to Russell's funnels because I have them all the tabs opened after I purchased the books, just so that I could see the kind of headlines he's using, video versus, because oftentimes it's like what you say on the landing page that changes things, So I've also bought, there's another one here. So I've got more of them here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's
Copywriting secrets.
Copywriting secrets is another one.
I keep getting an ad for that.
Yeah. So I am like really, really big right now, or I'm really kind of hot on copywriting.
Yeah.
Because like, I feel like that's like the one missing link, I think, to some of the stuff that we do is understanding how to persuade people to take action. And that's just something I'm learning. So this is another book that I would suggest getting with the rest of these.
Yeah, like we've been thinking about going through and like rewriting the copy for a lot of the products that we have, because we kind of just like when we first started, we just threw them up there, like we didn't really know what to say about it.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have to revisit all of that stuff.
A lot of what these copywriters teach. There's another guy. There's two guys that I would suggest you look into is Matt Fury and Ben Settle. Both of these guys Ben Settle and Matt Fury are big time email copywriters. And what they teach is mainly copywriting through stories, like storytelling, like telling a story that you've kind of had and taking a story and like something little that's happened to you and turning like this big, long, this long thing.
That's my specialty.
Yeah, exactly. So those guys,
I don't know if you guys have ever read one of my captions, but they're long.
I can't say that I have because I can't keep up with all the shit you do. But
I get a lot of people who write me and they're like, "Oh my gosh, your captions, like I feel like I know you." And it gets a little strange when you meet people in person at like networking events, at least prior to COVID.
Right.
They're talking to you about stuff that's happening in your life. You're like, how do you know that?
Yeah, well,
Forget that you share everything.
you share everything.
Yeah, that happens
Yeah.
to us too. I mean, people who listen to our podcast, and even clients that we've gotten, they're like, they basically hire us on the spot because they feel like they know us already.
Yeah.
Yeah, our biggest client, actually, the wildlife photography guy, he came through the podcast. Our biggest client right now came through the podcast. You know, the podcast itself doesn't pay us that much money, but what we get out of it,
Yeah.
is huge. I mean, we went to Clavio, Boston, and like everybody would come up to us like, we all listen to the podcast. Like, we're like, really? Like, okay. So you know, that's kind of cool. And but yeah. I used to look at funnels a lot more than I do now. Again, like I've known of Russell for like 5-6 years already.
Been in this for a while.
Yeah, I've been in this for a while, and I've been, you know, I've known of him for a long time. So, but yeah, I mean, he talks about funnel hacking a lot. I think it's a really smart thing to do. I mean, I don't suggest copying people,
Yeah.
but just seeing the kinds of things that they're upselling, right? Like, you know, that order bump is one thing, and then like the upsell is another thing, and like there's all these different things, and you know, learning from people who have done it is definitely something I would suggest for sure.
Yeah. One thing I want to say for anyone listening to the podcast is don't get overwhelmed with all of the things you're learning. Just do one thing at a time. I feel like people don't do anything because they're like, which one do I do first?
Yeah, I mean, and then
you guys froze.
yeah, and each of these things are, you know, in themselves very important. But if you do them all at the same time, I think you'd get overwhelmed. And that's, you know, Kevin and I, like our wildlife photography business, we are still just doing Facebook ads. Like that's it. Facebook and email, Facebook and email, Facebook and email. And it's not that we don't know how to do Pinterest or we don't know how to do. It's just that like we're just mastering Facebook. We're just making sure that we're not being distracted. And I think, you know, for you, it's Instagram, right? And I guess from Instagram, it automatically posts to Facebook. And I'm guessing you're doing that kind of thing, right? Or
no, so we post different stuff. So we stagger the content.
You
so
do,
like
okay.
If you post something on Monday on Instagram, it won't see Facebook till Thursday because a lot of the audiences overlap. So like you don't want them to see what you posted on Instagram on Monday, them see it again on Monday on Facebook because they're probably not going to interact with it, which will mess you up with the algorithm.
Gotcha.
It's interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, we don't do any content, so it doesn't really matter. But
we just repurpose everything. I think that's a good point too that I wanted to mention is like using the stuff that you already have and just repurposing it into even a product. Like for us, we had a discussion the other day that people will pay for convenience. Like you said, you basically have all the content on your website, but then you just put it all together in an ebook and you offer, an ebook, and then you offer it to them. Like we do the same thing. Like we have this long list of emails and these long list of articles that we do for the journal. We're just going to package them together in a PDF and sell them to people because people will pay for that convenience of actually having it at their fingertips.
It's true. Yeah.
So one more thing, Amanda, for me, do you guys have are you doing any like lead magnets on Facebook compared to just like offer?
No, so we actually want to do it with the ebook. Like people are really loving the ebook. We think it could really perform well. But we actually have a very unique situation with Facebook ads. I don't know if you've ever had this happen with one of your clients. But it's an issue that it's very frustrating to navigate on Facebook for us. So you know how Facebook has the special ads category? Mm-hmm. Our e-commerce is not a real estate brokerage, so we don't fall into the special ads category. But unfortunately, because of the business name and the fact that the word real estate agent is used so often in a lot of our copy, every time we run an ad, it gets denied, and we have to manually reach out to Facebook customer service, have them manually review it, sometimes more than once, in order for them to actually like approve it and have it launched. And the ebook, we haven't been able to get approved for some reason.
So we've had other problems similar to that, but not specifically with real estate. We've had like supplement companies have issues. We've had lawyers have issues, but that specifically we have not had any issues with. How big is your audience for that brand on Facebook?
Honestly, I mean, if we do all of America, we try to do like cities, but if we did all of America, it probably would be like 10 million.
No, I'm saying like the people who actually like the page or follow the page.
Oh, really, really small. Like we haven't even broke 1,000 yet.
So why don't you guys just think about changing the name of the page? You can do that pretty easily, just to remove that from their algorithms. Because the truth is, like, we have the Wildlife Photography Journal, or the Journal of Wildlife Photography, and our ads account we use is like Jared Lloyd Photo. It's like completely different. So
Yeah.
and we've tested that. We've run them with the Journal of Wildlife Photography, and we've run them with his name, and his name will always do better.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you might want to think about that. Maybe put one of your names in it, you or your fiance, or whoever the attractive character is. But the truth is, Amanda, I will tell you this firsthand, is like, people don't pay attention to that as much as you think that they do. Right? Everybody thinks like, oh my God, they're going to look at the name. I know they're looking like.
Half the time I convert on an ad, I don't even know like what I'm converting on. Like,
exactly.
who is this person?
Right. Exactly. So I would suggest, just doing a name change. It might take a little while if you're really changing it drastically. Like, they don't like when you like completely make a change. Like, but if you can maybe take realtor out, or you could take some of those things out, that will kind of stop.
That's a good idea.
If you even use your name, I think people may respond more to just using your name as the page name, because they'll be speaking. You're speaking to a person to person instead of a person to a business. You may even, start to engage people more.
That could work. What do you guys think about doing it in terms of like, because I have my own Facebook page. If I ran ads that go to the e-commerce, but it's through my Facebook page, not the e-commerce's page.
Well, you're not going to be able to do that. You're going to have to create a business page. You can't run them through personal.
Yeah, I have a business page.
Yeah, right, Kev. You can't run.
Yeah,
ads.
you can run an ad from your. Well, it's not a personal page. She's just saying she has a business page with her name on it.
Yeah,
I think I would definitely try that.
I would influencer marketing, but not because it's
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, one thing, Amanda, that I also said in the course, I think, is like, there's no right or wrong answers. It's just like test shit. That's how I figured this out. It wasn't like I just tested shit. Like, I took note of what worked and what didn't work, and then that's kind of how I've learned. It's the same kind of thing. Is like, I could tell you to do whatever the hell you want, but I don't know if it's going to work. But it may be an option to just change the name of that particular page that you're trying to run these ads for. Try to remove the realtor as much as you can, because the truth is, it's probably not going to make that much of a difference if you can, just imply something.
Yeah.
Or just start using that name, your name on that other page. Like, when we talk about running ads for the Facebook course, we talk about running an ad under Jason Caruso, so he can speak to people directly. Yeah. Instead of under e-commerce uncensored, because as soon as someone sees that business name, they kind of get turned off a little bit. But a personal, like Russell does that. Russell Brunson is his product, is his business page that he uses.
Right. And his product is ClickFunnels.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, just something to think about. I mean, if you keep getting denied, but yeah, I mean, that lead magnet stuff is really working well for us. So definitely something to consider, everybody listening.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna squeeze in like a meeting after this.
Well, you should. Yeah.
But why don't you share with everybody where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me on Instagram under Real Estate with Amanda. I'm also on Facebook as Real Estate with Amanda. And you can find our e-commerce at designforrealtors.com, as well as on Facebook and Instagram too.
So I wrote that down, and I would buy your journal or whatever you guys call it. Only I have them all over the place, and they're all blank.
Oh,
Never use
all
them.
Our planners are blank.
Everything.
That's a typical thing.
Yeah, I have the
5-minute journal. We have.
I got the 5-minute journal right here, right?
And I think he has it also. Yeah, he just said he has it.
He has it.
I have 10 pages done.
No, I have 0. I have 0 pages done. So that's that. I also have
the Freedom Journal, right? Is that the next one?
Freedom
Business Journal.
What's that?
The e-commerce business journal.
There you go. I have the Freedom Journal, and this one's empty as well. Nothing in there. And then I had the bright idea. Now, this is not a journal, but I had the bright idea of spending $150 on this advertising book.
Oh,
And and I've had it for like a year, and it's so nice and not used. That is
sealed
because there's no audio version of this. So yeah, I mean, I have a lot of great ideas. I like to buy shit, and I never use any of it.
I think we're in the same boat.
I'll tell you what, though, these books right here,
Worth it?
these books, you can't see this. These books, I have 150% I've listened to and read, because those are.
We go through the funnel to get the offer.
Well, just go through another one. Just go to not Traffic Secrets. Go to .com Secrets or Expert Secrets, and then just ups. So I bought this upsell. That's $100.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, wait. Hold on. This is another planner in here. This one.
Comes with it, right?
This is a planner. and see, this is a planner, and I have not done anything with
Not
this
much
either.
of a planner.
That's
No.
great.
But I like to have all the stuff so that at least I can pretend that I'm doing it. But yeah, these are worth it. I mean, I can honestly say like that this is probably one of my aha moments is not every single thing that he talks about, because it doesn't all apply to me, but he's opened my eyes to like what's possible, and the whole idea of not having to be profitable with your Facebook ads, that blew my mind. Like, as you think everybody thinks you're like running Facebook ads to get rich, but like at the end of the day, if you're just bringing in customers for free, you don't have a marketing budget. Like, it really comes down to it. You can spend $10,000 a day.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
Cool. That was awesome.
That was awesome, guys. Go check Amanda out. I would, at the very least, if you're not realtors, you definitely should check out how she does her content, because, it's definitely something Kevin and I keep an eye on. We were really, really surprised at how much shit you put out, and we, we're envious because we try to. Although, Kevin, I'm going to tell you right now, when we get this golf simulator, we will be putting content out.
Yeah, because you're doing it anyway.
I'm doing it anyway. Right.
Swinging a golf club around the office.
You've got to write a story about how golf relates to e-commerce.
And today, I'll do that. I also have I have this ad running, or we will have this ad running where I talked about
switched over to Klaviyo.
It's funny because I get emails from
story
people,
about
and I'm guessing
that,
she, and I was getting like emails for like 60 cents. But and this is before I knew what the hell I was doing. I'm like, we're just wasting money, Kev. Let's turn it off. Sorry. I'm excited to get back to that.
I think she's like another
one.
That was like
several years ago, and
she
I've
used our
learned
link
a
or
lot
not,
since then,
or even if
and
she found
I
Klaviyo
think
through
that
us. Product
it's nice to see
kick ass as
that,
well, and I'll have more of that
people
to share.
are actually finding Klaviyo through us, because
I'm also with this
we
Facebook
love it.
course.
I don't think it's ever going to end.
We use it
Like,
for
I'm
all
always
of
going
to
to
be sending out
businesses.
videos when I learn
I
something.
really think you guys are
going
going to love this episode. We
looking
talk
forward
about
to
a
that too.
lot of different
Yeah.
things.
Me too.
If you haven't joined the Facebook group by
Awesome.
now,
Well,
it is
Amanda,
out of
thank you
beta.
so much. It was really great.
Sorry, you
Guys,
have to go to
check her
where?
out.
We have to
She
go.
does
There's
some
some
amazing
amazing
go to
stuff on Instagram.
Klaviyo.com.
I'm wondering when the fiance is going to be on those
/uncensored to
videos.
sign
I
up
don't
for
really see him
Klaviyo.
too much, but
I think we just mentioned
video,
Amanda.
so I actually
I think we just got tagged. Saying how like Klaviyo was just got tagged by Alex. It was a no-brainer once she switched over and tried it. So you guys got to go head over there and try it. It's KLAVIYO. Now I can see the setup because I got the side view of Amanda
the funny
doing
part
the
about it all
podcast.
is how
nice.
much people love just
I'm looking forward to
geeking
this
out
myself.
on
I'm
it,
gonna
like
have to get in
the
there.
flows and all this,
Cool.
and like how much money.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much, Amanda.
Also.
And thanks for your kind words
And,
about the course. That was awesome. Thank you.
We talk about the
Thank you guys
Facebook
for
course. You haven't joined that
creating
yet.
it.
It's coming out of
Looking forward to
beta. By the time you listen to this, if you go to e-commerce uncensored,
Yeah, we're gonna get it on the Teachable platform by Thursday when this
you'll be
podcast launches.
redirected
We're gonna
to
get it on the
sign up
Teachable
for the
platform,
course. I
and
guess that's how it's
everybody
going to be
who's
done,
in the
Kev.
course
We
right
haven't
now
quite figured
is
that out
gonna
yet.
have access to it.
But if you go there, the
all of the-
information will be there.
All of the lessons
It's
will
out of
be a little
beta,
bit more, it'll be in one place, so you
it's
can
going to be
always
launched.
refer to them.
I try to
Yeah,
make
and for
the
those
course
of you who
very
signed up for that
evergreen,
list,
so like
we're
I
going to be
didn't
sending out
talk
an email
about
shortly to
like
get
the tactics of like
get ahead of
do
that a
this,
little
do
bit.
that,
We'll be
because
sending
I
out
feel
that
like it's going
shortly.
to change by the time people watch it.
Um,
I talked
So
more.
yeah,
of
that's
like
it.
a whole,
So enjoy this
further
interview.
ado.
This is, you know what? I don't
Yeah, it'll all
remember
be
her
there
last
for you.
name. Did we get her last name?
Congratulations.
I don't know. I don't
Thank you.
Same to you.
Anyway.
You're doing an amazing job.
Enjoy this
so.
interview. Thank you, Amanda. That was a lot of fun. They're great people, Jason. And every time I have these interviews, and like it seems like they always go on longer and longer every time. But I just love how we're just connecting with all these people in these ways. Like
Which we're not really good at.
no, we're not. We're terrible. And we always like shied away from it up till like actually since COVID really is when we really started doing this. So, one of the good things that came out of this thing, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So
haven't signed up for Klaviyo yet. As you can see, Amanda loves it. Go to klaviyo.com/uncensored. Sign up. You can bring 250 subscribers over. You can connect it to your e-commerce store. You can do whatever the hell you want with it for free.
it's funny how everybody doesn't pronounce Klaviyo right. Whenever they first mention
Klaviyo,
it,
right?
Every
they had to
single
give
time.
us a shirt that obviously spelled it out. But go check them out. You guys gotta start using them if you have an e-commerce store, if you're selling info products, anything. If you're selling anything, Klaviyo is your platform. If you haven't signed up for my course, our course,
do it.
The truth about Facebook ads. Heard Amanda. It's different. It's not like any other course out there. You must sign up for this if you run Facebook ads. ecommerceuncensored.com/truth.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 185. As always, you can check us out at ecommerceuncensored.com, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.
Later.